CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. The North Island communities of Port Alice and Port McNeill are tonight anxiously awaiting word from the coroner. They're waiting to learn the name of a tree faller who was killed at a remote logging site. The coroner made his way to the scene at Gooding Cove near Port Alice today, along with investigators from WorkSafe BC. The man was at work for Lemaire Lake Logging yesterday when a tree fell and struck and killed him. CTV's Jet Bazzi reports.
The forestry town of Port McNeill awakens to terrible news. Another worker killed on the job.
It is very heartbreaking when we hear that, especially the fact that he was also a family man.
It's always hard. It's hard on the whole town.
It's a real eye-opener.
On Thursday, WorkSafe BC was called to a remote site on northern Vancouver Island after a faller was struck by a tree.
Our information at this time is very preliminary, but we understand that a worker was struck by a tree at a logging work site. The employer is Lemaire Lake Logging.
It happened 2.5 hours away from Port Alice, near Gooding Cove. Forestry fatalities are part of life on the North Island, but people say they shouldn't be.
It's whether unsafe acts are being done by the fallers or they're just not paying attention to their job.
Jerry lost his father to the industry. He was 11 years old when his father died. He can't believe another young life has been taken by the job.
They seem to be happening more and more.
He's a retired mechanic and has worked alongside fallers all his life. It's one of the most dangerous occupations in the province.
You make one mistake, it could be critical.
Fallers are trained professionals, people who need to be certified. Jerry says many things can go wrong when the saw is in motion.
Well, the trees can fall the wrong way. Pieces can come off, branches can fall down, hit the faller. They can touch a tree and it's rotten. The tree can come right down on them. The tree can jackknife, you know. And they didn't clear the brush out of the way. They couldn't get out of the way of a falling tree.
It's the second logging fatality in 2 years for Lemaire Lake Logging. Last year in May, faller Luke Stoner was struck down by a tree. This gravel road leads down to the Lemaire Lake Logging head office. They told us to stay off their property and will not comment on the recent death of their employee. Jerry wants someone to take responsibility, someone to make the industry safer.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on there. There's somebody not paying attention? Somebody's not paying attention to the cause of the loggers, or somebody's not putting in stiffer regulations for them? Maybe they're working too long a day? Maybe they're driving too far to get to their job?
The coroner and WorkSafe BC safety officers and investigators are still at the scene. They say they have identified the man and are in the process of notifying his family. Jet Bazzi, CTV News, Port Alice.